To start off with, there's several different styles of menu. There's the a la carte menu, which is what a lot of places in America use. It is, individual items that are cost. You can get like a country fried steak, you can pick your sides. All of that stuff is priced individually. Next up, there is the prefix menu, which is a prefixed menu, meaning that all the courses are all set. You don't get to pick your sides, you don't get to add or this or subtract that, or whatever. It just comes as it is. A rotational menu you'll typically see in institutions, schools, colleges, prisons, whatever. And it could be a 4-week rotating menu, a 1-week rotating menu, a 12-week rotating menu. It all just depends. The cool thing about these are usually designed to give people that are in the institution a variety. So at the college that I used to work at, we had a 5-week rotating menu. So every 5th week, the menu would go back to the beginning and start. So you'd have like chimichurri beef on Monday. On week 6, it's chimichurri beef. Now, with any menu, standardized recipes are extremely important. You can get away with fudging stuff on banquet dining, catering and dining, stuff like that, because not everybody has the same food at the same time. If you didn't like the way the chicken piccata turned out this time, you can, fudge the recipe a little bit, change it, and turn it into something else. In a restaurant setting or in a setting where you're going to have regular customers or you're going to have a rotational menu, chimichurri beef, it needs to be the same chimichurri beef. What's going to happen is people have chimichurri beef once and they like it. Then the next time they have it, they don't like it so much because, maybe somebody put lemon juice instead of red wine vinegar or whatever. They did something different that they weren't supposed to do, or they wanted to try something different. The problem is that this breaks trust. And in any restaurant service industry, you need to have that trust in order to maintain a good customer base. When you are actually designing the menu, layout's extremely important as well. An immediate tip is make sure you don't use hard to read fonts. I'm going to go into a little bit of art with this too. The human brain does not like to do work. And when people go out to eat, they want to be relaxed. And these little tiny stressors can end up building up into a negative experience. So if the menu is hard to read, that is one of those. Make sure the menu writing is in Arial or Courier or something like that. I know it may not go with the theme of the restaurant, but if you use a lot of like really small cursive that's hard to read, people are going to get kind of irritated about it. Typically what you will notice is 9 out of 10 customers. There are people that will peruse the whole menu and find something. Human beings are not a monolith, but what you will generally find is that people will often pick, when they are new to a restaurant, they will often pick the first 2 or 3 items that are on the menu. They might look over the whole menu, but they'll typically pick one of the first few. Now, how you organize it is totally up to you. A good rule of thumb is the things that make you more money, put them towards the front. That's why you'll notice that appetizers will sometimes be towards the front of the menu, because desserts and appetizers actually make a ton of money. You could probably find a place that'll sell 5 chicken tenders as an appetizer for like $13.50, which is in my opinion kind of ridiculous. But the cost to actually get those chicken tenders, odds are they aren't hand breading them. But a lot of restaurants as appetizers will honestly just get their crap from US Foods or Cisco, and they'll throw it in the fryer, and they make a ton of money off of that chicken. Desserts are the same way. Like, think about it. A scuba ice cream, a little bit of fudge, and a cherry, $6 for that. And then considering that they get like the big 5-gallon tubs of ice cream, they can get a lot of money out of 1 tub of ice cream. Same thing with shakes. By the way, this is why I say be nice to your servers. Usually the servers are the ones doing your dessert. It's not the cooks. So if you don't want them spitting in your shake, be nice to them. They usually don't spit in your shake, but whatever. You know what I mean. So within the menu pricing, we're going to be running up against the whole video of menu pricing. And here's what I'm going to say on that. You absolutely 100% of the time need to have standardized recipes. Unless you're in a Michelin star restaurant where they have their own greenhouse and they just kind of pick whatever, or you run into a situation where you have some well-priced turbot, so you're going to put that on the menu, whatever the case is. Usually the really, really ritzy high-end restaurants will not necessarily have standardized recipes. They will have standardized recipes for various things, but as far as what they're going to put on the menu that day, a lot of that stuff might actually just be what they, whatever the chef was feeling that day. So I'm not talking about those restaurants. I'm talking about the 99% of restaurants out there. They have to have standardized recipes. You want people coming in that are regulars to be confident that what they order is going to be the same thing. So there's a marketing side to this. But also, this is going to help with your food costs. Because if you don't know what it costs to make your dish, you're going to have a lot of trouble regulating your food cost. So not only that, but also you need to know that you're actually making money on the product that you're selling. And this is why I said it's going to take a whole nother video. Because, for example, I always talk about trimming tenderloins. Well, this is an untrimmed tenderloin. Okay? This is tenderloin that has been trimmed. A percentage of that tenderloin has been trimmed off. And now the money that you spent on that tenderloin, some of it's sitting in a pile that you have to figure out what to do with. So out of a whole case of tenderloin, there's going to be a percentage of that that is going to be product that you didn't intend on using for the guest. Just like when you buy cabbage, a percentage of that's going to be waste. You're going to be taking the cores out. A couple of the leaves have to come out. Broccoli stalks. So that's going to factor into the amount of usable product you have. Generally, what I will say as a rule of thumb, when you're pricing a menu, you want to start at a baseline of taking all of your costs into account, whether or not it's going to be a anchor product. I'm going to call it an anchor product. That's not the right term for it. But basically a product that you will probably not gain as much money on. You might even lose money on it. But then other menu items make up for that because they're really good sellers and they're really good high margin foods. But the basic principle is you want to set your food cost at a baseline of taking into account all of your overhead costs, the amount of usable product you have, and all of these other things that I was talking about, the labor, the small wares, the electric bill, that's overhead. But you know what I mean? Like all of the costs of the restaurant are factored into the menu pricing. And then from there, that is your starting point. You want value pricing. Now, cost pricing is part of this, but you also want value pricing. You want to combine these two things together. And you know what? Customers might complain and they might say, I could make it cheaper at home. Well, they can go make it at home. The customer is always right most of the time, but here, when it's your livelihood and it's your money, do what you got to do in order to get that cash. This is one of those like gold tomahawk steaks. So you could probably make this for about $100.
I'm all for calling out Salt Bae. Salt Bae is but I think we can do even better than this today by taking down his most expensive menu item.
They did a video showing how much cheaper it is to make this steak at home. Here's what I'm getting at. It's part of the marketing scheme. They can sell a $2,500 gold ribeye because people want to come for the gimmicky nature of it. As much as people do not like Salt Bae, this is an extreme example of what I'm talking about. I'm not saying go and sell all of your steaks, 100,000 times more than what they cost. But I am saying using that value pricing system, this is how you're going to end up making money off of it. Part of menu design is going to be customer psychology. Like I said, there's heat maps that show where people will typically read a menu in America, right to left, and they start up here and work their way down. So higher margin items are going to be kind of in this upper quadrant of the menu, and the less popular items or whatever are going to be down in a different part of the menu. Now, the caveat to this is you can actually make a less popular item more popular by menu placement. So if you have something that isn't selling very well, you can try moving it to like the number one spot. If you're not doing as well selling the burgers and the pastas are overselling, maybe it's menu placement. The pastas are up here, burgers are way down here on like page 2 or whatever. Try flipping that. See what happens. I'm not going to guarantee that is going to fix the problem. I'm just saying this is one factor. That's how people look at things. Also, colors play an important role. If you have a big black border box, people are more likely to read that box before they read anything else. That's why appetizers are usually separated in their own box. Also, the color black plays a big role. As you've been watching this video, you notice that your eyes were drawn to the microphone randomly. Even though I'm on a green screen, I don't have a wireless mic right now, so I kind of have to do this with the green screen. If you think about it, this microphone is actually taking up a small section of the screen. The screen's pretty big, but you're focusing on this. Not all the time, but your eyes have been like randomly drawn to it. Now, also that I'm talking about it, you're looking at it too. But my point is people are drawn to the color black more than anything. You could have a painting with a whole bunch of colors. It could be a huge painting. You could take a quarter size black paint and just put a little dot down in the corner. People will go right to that dot before they look at anything else. I'm not saying the painting is bad because of it. I'm saying that's what happens. An artist that's experienced knows how to use the colors in a way that when you are looking at the painting, your eyes will be drawn to something and will move. There's a name for it, but it's they determine how they want your eyes to move around the painting, and they use colors in order to do that. So that's why color scheme is extremely important as well. The next tip that I have, menu items themselves. You don't want a crap ton of menu items. You've seen a lot of Kitchen Nightmares episodes. One of the complaints that Ramsay will usually have is the menu is too big.
One of these combinations with an entree.
Gordon looks like his head's gonna explode.
Point in time, we have a half-pound Angus prime burger. I had actually 20 more.
It looks like a book, like you're reading a book. And even that's overkill, but I'm talking like make it even smaller. You don't need 250, 350 items on your menu. There's a few problems with this. First off, it's going to determine how the kitchen gets bogged down if you get a night where you have a full restaurant. If everybody's ordering different things and they take different processes and procedures to make, it's going to slow the kitchen down a whole lot. You have to buy in bulk typically from US Foods or Cisco, or even if you get from a local greenhouse, the more you buy is usually the better. Say you put cilantro on a burger, like I've got a fajita burger that I make. It's really good. Uses cilantro. Now, I also put the cilantro in pico and salsa and different things like that, so I can utilize the cilantro in different ways. If you make a menu where you have like one burger that uses cilantro, one burger that uses carrots, one burger that uses Asiago cheese, it becomes a problem. It becomes a food cost problem. You're throwing product away more frequently, and it bogs the kitchen down if they have to go in a million different directions to get things. Every single burger uses a burger. Every chicken sandwich uses chicken. If I have fried chicken, I can use a regular chicken breast, batter it, fry it, and put it on a sandwich. Another tip is you want to look at market trends. Think about what's in the area. If you have a really high population of people from India, they're going to have different food preferences. When I go visit my dad, pho is in high demand. There's tons of pho everywhere. Everywhere you look. And I love pho. I love it. So good. Where I'm at down in Texas, Texas Roadhouse is always busy. It's always packed because that's a lot of really high demand items. Big fat steaks, big potatoes, huge portions,
Texas ass beer.
diners, diner style food, biscuits and gravy, sausage, fried chicken with white gravy. All of the, grits, shrimp and grits, this kind of stuff is in high demand in my area. But it doesn't mean that if I go 4 hours that way, there may be something completely different that's popular on the menu. So you got to take things like market trends into account, demographics, what your market segment is, menu pricing. See, this gets really complicated. It takes, there's a reason when I promote culinary school and people crap on me for online culinary school, there's a whole section. It teaches you everything you need to know about menu design. There's a big fat book about menu planning and food costing and all this stuff, because culinary school is designed to teach you how the paperwork side, the administrative side. And yes, a lot of cooking is involved, especially in a brick and mortar place, but you can learn menu design digitally, online, in an online school. This is an example of that. You are currently in a type of online culinary education environment. Whatever, I'm going off on a tangent about that, whatever. I already did a video on culinary school. If you know something about menu design that didn't get covered, leave it down in the comments. So people can watch this video, they can get a basic rundown, they can go somewhere else and learn even more about it and whatever, because we are fostering an environment where people are not gatekeeping knowledge. We want to, high tide raises all boats. We want to lift everybody up together and create an awesome environment for people. And part of that is a continued education. There's things about menu design. I've been cooking my entire adult life. There are things about menu design that I still don't even know to this day. It is being a chef is a lifelong journey. We're always learning new things. As much knowledge as I have, there's plenty out there that I don't know. So I hope you enjoyed the video on menu design. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything else, leave it down in the comments. And if you did like the video, throw in a like my way or sub lets me know to keep making content like this. But otherwise, you guys have an amazing day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.